I recently bought some early 2000s teen magazines off of eBay, and I have been having a blast reading these, but I will tell you, they are so much more unhinged than I remember. Like when they circled this photo of Reese Witherspoon's lower stomach and captioned it, "Poochie Mama." On this same page, they also circled Donatella Versace's butt and says, "Who said you've got to hide your cellulite?" Wait, no, my favorite was on this page titled "Things to Do," where they suggested that you write your crush's name on your toenails and then play footsie with him. So many times while reading these, I have been like, what is going on? But one thing I've actually found really interesting is seeing the fashion in these, noticing how similar it is to things that we wear today. Some of these pages you could have told me were pulled from a magazine in 2026 and I would have believed it. So for context, today the magazines we're discussing: Cosmo Girl February 2003 and 17 Magazine January 2002. Not only has it been interesting to see a lot of this fashion come back into style, the craziest part of all is seeing the prices of the clothing in this magazine, because they're actually not that different than clothing prices today. That has probably been what has shocked me the most. I was expecting to see the clothing prices and think, wow, that's so much less, because of course this is over 20 years ago, but that really has not been the case. So I wanted to do some comparisons. I looked up a lot of these clothing brands today to see what the prices are so we could put them side by side, starting with this skirt from Betsey Johnson that retailed for $118 back in 2002, and I was able to find a semi-similar skirt on their website currently, and it's actually only $89, so less than a skirt cost from Betsey Johnson in 2002, or at least the skirt featured in this magazine. Similarly, this pair of jeans from Guess was $78, and I was looking on their website and they sell jeans as low as $79. They have some pairs that are more, and I would say depending on how intricate the jeans get, the cost goes up. So it's not a fair comparison, again, because it's not the exact same pair of jeans, but the cost is pretty stable actually. One I saw a really big jump from though was this pair of pants from Abercrombie & Fitch. In 2002, they were listed at $49.50 compared to today where most Abercrombie jeans cost $90. So I was curious to put it in an inflation calculator. So let's go back to the Guess jeans that again in 2002 were $78 and adjusted for March of 2026, which is the soonest that the US Bureau of Labor Statistics has available, would be $145.44. And skimming through the website, Guess does have some jeans closer to $140, but still not quite as high as $154. And I think this is an interesting piece of the conversation that I don't hear that much, as so many goods and services in our lives have gotten more expensive in the past few decades. Clothing really has not. It stayed more stable than a lot of us realize. Like that was one of the most shocking things for me when reading through this, is that the clothes are not that much more expensive considering how much inflation has raised the costs of everything. You might have noticed I changed my jewelry. At the start of the video, I was wearing Hafang's butter bun earrings along with the butter bun necklace, both from their Tea Time collection, but I've switched it out for some pieces from their Nebula collection. So this is the Starry Celestial necklace. The butter bun chain that I was wearing is perfect for every day, and this one I feel like spices things up a little bit, especially if you wanted to wear this at night or with something a little bit more formal. And the earrings are my favorite part. Okay, so in my first hole right here, these are the Celestial Drizzle earrings. They're so sparkly. I love the way they peek out from my hair. And I paired that with the Nebula ribbon studs. Okay, these are really cool. One of my favorite types of jewelry is anything modular that you can use more than one way. So these have a double layer detachable design, so you can wear them as this really bold drop earring, or you can do what I did today, detach the star and wear the star as a stud. So I really like the look of the star in my second hole next to the Celestial Drizzle earrings in my first hole. I also have the matching meteor ring on today. I'm normally a gold girl, but I think this is going to convert me into wearing more silver because I just want to wear these all the time. But regardless of whether you wear gold, silver, or both, Hafang has so many options. If you are not familiar with Hafang, they were created by Sun Hafang and they sell the most unique pieces. You know me and you know that I love something funky. Okay, look at these cherry drop earrings. These are the Glimmer Cherry earrings. I love how cool and sculptural these are, and obviously they're very funky because they are modeled after a cherry, but in a way that still feels like so playfully elegant. Or wait until you see these spaghetti fork hoop earrings. Yes, I just said spaghetti fork hoop earrings. It is literally a fork with a zirconia piece of spaghetti on it. I just think Hafang makes the coolest, most interesting, fun, totally unexpected jewelry. I'm so excited to be working with them today. Thank you to Hafang for sponsoring this video. video. I will have everything linked down below, but let's get back into it. The makeup was fun to look at as well because while I don't think any of it was super bold and it wasn't necessarily a lot of steps, the colors were a lot brighter than what tends to be more popular today. Like I was seeing a lot of purple. And there's even this article where they're giving this girl a makeover and she said that she doesn't normally wear color on her eyes and they told her that she should wear a shimmery lavender liner and shadow to contrast her green eyes, which really unlocked a memory for me because I remember back in the day, the makeup advice was like blue eyes need to be wearing this color. Green eyes need to be wearing this color. It's like there were rules. And as someone with brown eyes, we were always told like, oh, you're so lucky with brown eyes, you can wear whatever you want. But specifically, I feel like it was very pushed, like you should do purple, you should do blue. And I would always hear blue eyes should wear either like warm browns, oranges, and then green eyes should wear purple. Like basically the opposite of your eye color you were suggested to wear so it would make your eye pop. And I don't hear that advice that much these days. I also wouldn't say people seek out an eye that pops these days, you know? I actually think a lot of people reach for their makeup to elongate their eye or lift it or like kind of use makeup to snatch the face. Whereas a lot of the messaging in the early 2000s was like, these are the colors you need to make your eyes pop. And does anyone remember the mascara that was supposed to have like light reflecting pigments to make your eye color pop? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Rihanna was in these commercials and it would be like, brown eyes, you need to wear these, it's gonna make your brown eyes pop. And it was like kind of a black mascara, but it was supposed to have like this subtle hint of metallic in it. And then you chose the color to correspond with your eyes to make your eyes pop. Like everyone wanted their eyes to pop. Even on this cover, like Alicia Keys has kind of this like smoky bluish eye look. Again, probably because the blue makes the brown eyes pop. One thing that was the most jarring to me when I got these, and I have a couple others that I might do a separate video about, let me know. Today we're covering early 2000s, but I've got some more like 2010s magazines, so let me know if you want those. But when I got these in the mail, one of my first thoughts was, wow, their faces are so airbrushed. Like it's kind of wild. And there is still a considerable amount of retouching that happens today. I'm not going to suggest this went extinct because it didn't, but we were pretty shameless about it in the early 2000s. Like they are airbrushed to oblivion here. At least now they pretend. They'll like take out your pimples but still keep the pores or like a little something so it looks less fake. If anything, actually, maybe, you know what? This might have been better. This is a crazy thing to say, but at least at this time you could look at this and see, well, that's incredibly photoshopped. Like this is very airbrushed. I'm not going to judge myself against this. Whereas today, I feel like the standard people are held to is like, it's like almost within reach, but it is still completely unattainable because it's still fake. But you're supposed to perceive it as being a possibility. And in that way, I almost feel like it's an even less achievable standard. At least this, you could be like, well, no one looks like that. Another big theme in these magazines, unfortunately, this was a very fat-phobic time, and that was like all over these magazines. Like I said, they circled Reese Witherspoon's completely flat stomach and called it a pooch. Oh, the craziest one though was this page about prom dress suggestions for different body types, where they said wherever your budget or body type, these dresses are a perfect fit. And they share 4 different body types: busty, pear, skinny, and full. And I would like to zoom in on what they considered full. This person is objectively skinny. This is not a full body. And to suggest that these are the 4 body types, I kid you not, I turned the page, I thought, oh, this segment must continue on the next page. No, it is just these 4, and that is what they consider full. Not only that, but in both magazines, there was a segment all about how to get the low-rise body, and it was a series of workout tips for you to incorporate so you could look good in low-rise pants. This was crazy messaging for a teen magazine. This is sold to children. Ooh, wait, okay, let's go back to fashion for a second. Something really, really interesting I want to point out. So again, these came out 2002, 2003. And as we know, 9/11 happened in 2001. And one thing I thought was super fascinating in both of these magazines was how present the American flag was, how many articles there were about patriotism, about being proud to be an American, but specifically where it ties in with fashion, the American flag was on everything. There was so much clothing either with a flag or at least in like red, white, and blue. And it's something I didn't really remember until going back through these. And then I'm like, wait, yeah, it was like super trendy to wear American flag clothing in the early 2000s. Patriotism was very present, and we saw that in a lot of fashion at the time, which was something I didn't necessarily remember until I'm going back through these and I'm like, oh my gosh, everything has an American flag on it. It's interesting too because most, if not all, teen magazines have pretty much closed down at this point. Just last year, Condé Nast announced that they were doing away with Teen Vogue and kind of folding that content over onto regular Vogue. And in general, I find there's just much less teen-specific media these days. Like when I was growing up, there were a lot of things like shows and magazines that were specifically for teens. And it doesn't really exist today, not in the same way. But there were kind of 4 big takeaways I wanted to mention here that look so different today compared to the magazine days. Not that magazines don't still exist, but they're not the same. One of the biggest ones was our relationship with celebrities. There are a lot of celebrity interviews in these magazines, and they're just like asking for opinions or for little quotes. And I was reading through it, and I found myself like not that interested unless it was a celebrity I was really interested by. But I think a big part of that is today in 2026, we have so much access to famous people. Like everyone has an Instagram account. They're posting like what they ate for breakfast. Celebrities are less of this elusive thing in 2026. Pre-social media, celebrities were kind of like unattainable. Like this was the only opportunity to get a glimpse into their life. So I remember being a kid reading through like, oh, what did she have to say? People care a lot less to read an article in a magazine because now if a celebrity wants to speak to someone, like they can just get on their story and say it. Whereas back in the day, there wasn't really an outlet to do that. You had to go through the press. 2, it was really interesting to read so many stories of different teens in the magazines. And it was like kind of interactive, like you could send in your story or they might ask a question and share your experience. And I kept thinking like pre-social media, the only way to really hear of stories of other teens at the time was through a medium like magazines. Like today you can get on social media and hear so many people's opinion and experience. But prior to this, there were so many less outlets to connect with someone that you didn't personally know. I've talked about this so many times before, but it is really interesting to compare in 2026. The baseline knowledge that the average makeup user has today is considerably more than someone had in the early 2000s. Even the makeup tips in these magazines, you are reading print. You don't have a tutorial to follow along with it. I mean, like the tutorial is the print, but like you don't have a video of someone doing it. You can't really see what they're doing. It's even weird to think about, even though like this was my lifetime. I was learning how to do makeup from the pages of a magazine, but I just can't even imagine that reality anymore. Like most makeup wearers these days, they probably learned from a video of someone teaching them on the internet. Like that is so fascinating to me. Not only that, I think formulas have just advanced so much these days that I think that lends itself well to applying your makeup now in the mid 2020s. But I can't imagine going back to a time where I had no video. I could only figure out this makeup by reading it. Oh my gosh, I didn't even say I was trying to be on theme today and you really can't even tell. I was like, I need to put on my most early 2000s. This, you can't see it at all, but it is a dress. It is a dress. It is a very old dress. It is from the early 2000s. My friend gave this to me. I'm very fortunate that my friends all know that my style is very Y2K. I love early 2000s fashion. So when they're ever cleaning out their closets or they have something from that era, they're like, do you want this? And the answer is always yes. Okay, going back to magazines versus the social media days now, the 4th big takeaway is about fashion inspiration. So today in 2026, I don't know what to wear. Okay, for example, my friend's bachelorette is this weekend. The weather was going to be warm and now suddenly it's not. So I'm like panicked, like I have to think of a new outfit. And to do that, I instantly go to Pinterest and I'm like, outfit for semi-cold spring day, like typing in the exact specifics that I need and kind of like filtering through outfits, getting inspiration that way. If I'm not getting inspiration that way, maybe I'm seeing someone on my social media feed and I'm liking their outfit and I want to incorporate something into an outfit I wear in the future. Like a lot of our inspiration these days comes from online, but that wasn't always the case. Like so much of the style inspiration at this time was coming from TV shows, movies, or magazines. Today, it is so easy and accessible to find like endless streams of inspiration, but that was not always the case. And these are all the things that I know when I say it out loud, it sounds obvious, but sometimes I have to sit back and remind myself of these things. And reading through these old school magazines was definitely bringing me back to that headspace and reminding me how different our lives kind of look today. So let me know if you want me to do a part 2 with those 2010s magazines. Thank you to Hafeng for sponsoring this video, and I will go ahead and see you in my next one. Bye.